Barcelona new star, Chutian's legendary rise begins. Episode 81. The new king of football, Chutian's popularity global. The Qatar Peninsula. Inside a luxury villa near the Thad Sports Club, Harvey sat on the couch. The TV stereo shouted from the narrator, "Goal." He looked at the Yenghua teenager on the big screen and sincerely exclaimed that Chutian might help Barca reach an unprecedented peak. He's not from the La Masia Academy, but he understands passing better than any of the Barcelona main players right now. After Harvey left the Matador Nation, still with Barcelona in mind, born in Barca, he joined the La Masia Academy at the age of 11, entered the first team at the age of 18 and bid farewell to Barca at the age of 35 with 25 trophies. The purest La Masian blood flows through the body. At the same time, he has been worried about the aging of Barca's midfield. Iniesta suffers frequent injuries. The forward MSN is not supported by firepower. Busquets' defensive line with Pique and Mascherano was very passive when faced with the impact of speed football after Barca lost their passing advantage. The problem of aging midfield and lack of green and yellow is becoming more and more serious. Before Chutian appeared, for a while, Enrique had to give up the midfield and play defensive counterattacks instead, letting the backfield play a big foot-long pass, looking for MSN. Although he can score goals by virtue of MSN's personal ability, he still seems to be inferior when facing a super strong team and is criticized by fans. Until now, Harvey felt that his worries were superfluous. Before the start of the new La Liga season, a young boy from the east fell from the sky and saved Barca. It's like a fairy tale. Chariot Nation, Bayern Munich. Guardiola looked at the computer monitor with a look of astonishment, excitedly touching his big bald head. I don't think he's Harvey's successor. He should call midfielder Messi. He's only 17 or 16? The teaching assistant did not dare to answer. He knows the Bayern manager, who is modest and polite most of the time, but very paranoid when he is excited. It's a person with a very complicated personality. After some thought, the assistant coach reminded, "Coach, we are now in the office building of Bayern Munich, not at Camp Nou." Guardiola smiled and turned off the Barca game video page. I thought Barca wouldn't be able to do it, but now, I'm looking forward to going home in the Champions League. Go home? The teaching assistant had some doubts. The next moment it dawned on me. The coach was talking about looking forward to leading Bayern to the Camp Nou in the Champions League. The current Bayern manager, Pep Guardiola. It is the jewel of La Masia. As a player, he was a legendary star of Barca, the midfield core of the dream team, and even the later Xavi was called Guardiola's successor. As a coach, he led Barca to 6 crowns. In 2015, only one team in the history of football achieved this achievement. That's Barca. Bernabeu. Zidane watched Barca's game replay, brow furrowed. Next month, it's the National Derby. He is a superstar in the history of football, a legendary midfielder. In Chutian's body, Zidane observed something else. Barca, the boy of the Yen country, is not only strong in attack. The defensive end of Barca's entire squad, also under his rhythm control, has become impeccable. This season's National Derby will be intense. Chutian and his Barca teammates arrived at the airport. The system prompts the sound to start. Ding. Congratulations to the host for winning La Liga and awarding match points ×5. He suddenly realized a problem. Contest buff status 100% drink, put for many days will not expire. He only took a few sips against Atletico, and half a bottle. He plans to stay in the National Derby and drink against Real Madrid. The system seemed to sense his thoughts. Ding, race buff status 100% drink will not expire, shelf life, permanent. Chutian breathed a sigh of relief. Suddenly, someone was heard calling out his name. Look back. It is also the students of the Polytechnic University of Valencia. They were wearing Barca shirts and holding banners aloft. Chutian smiled slightly and shouted loudly, "I'm leaving, you guys should go back early." Then he waved. Farewell to the students studying in Yenghua. Bid farewell to Valencia, a beautiful ancient city lined with bell towers. When Chutian returned to the first team's dormitory, it was already 11 p.m. The club takes into account the intensive fixture schedule that follows. Tomorrow we will give the players a special holiday. However, for Chutian, there was not much difference between taking a vacation or not, but there was no need for intensive training. Chutian, can you conquer the Bernabeu? The question posed by the post-match reporter came to mind again. After a moment of thought, Chutian turned on the TV, went to the Real Madrid sports channel, a TV station run by the Real Madrid club. The Real Madrid game was played on TV. He took out a pen, a piece of paper, started staring intently at the screen. Some people say, athletes are all well developed on all fours and have simple minds. This sentence does not apply to modern competitive sports. Chutian, after 4 top games, he gained a deeper understanding of the reading of the game. At this time, the Real Madrid players' running and formation changes, offensive and defensive changes, are also unconsciously projected in the perspective of God. A long time later, at the end of the game, he rubbed his temples. On the daily training schedule, add a plan to yourself. Watch the games of the European giants. The European giants represent the most advanced and scientific tactical systems in today's football. The system can give you a ball skill module, but there's no way to improve your ball quotient. A midfielder, if you want to become stronger, physical training alone is not enough. Must keep learning. Yenghua. Reports about Chutian were overwhelming. Chutian's Carlos-style free-kick shot, the whole net exploded. 3 different lens perspectives actually dominate the top 3 hot searches. Short video platform. Users can brush up on Chutian's wonderful goal highlights at any time. Video likes over 5 million. The number of retweets reached 2 million. Countless netizens who do not watch football have also become fans of Chutian. Many of them did not know the past between the Football Association and Chutian. Actively leave comments under the video. The Yen Games are about to start. Is Chutian going to return to China to compete? The World Cup qualifiers are starting again. Chutian will definitely be able to lead the Yen national football team to rush into the World Cup and push the Wu country sideways. Crush the stick country. Why didn't Chutian participate in the training of the national football team? Did no one inform Chutian? Real estate team and Barca a level, right? The AFC Champions League and the Champions League are in the same class, right? Kick back to the real estate team, right? Then I can watch his matches every week in the Chinese Super League. Followed by a series of Chutian science popularization videos have been on the hot search. Chutian has been banned by the Football Association. Won't go home and play football. Will not participate in any national team matches. Popular science. Chutian can't save the national football. Popular science. The gap between the strength of the real estate team and Barca. Please don't let Chutian come back. Don't hurt him. Let him go. Fans all over the world also saw Chutian's game highlights. Their surprise at Chutian was no less than seeing Messi, who had turned out to be that year. Matador Nation. The Yenghua students from the University of Barcelona and the Polytechnic University of Catalonia have formed the Chutian Fan Support Association. Barca clubs are also preparing to arrange a fan meeting in Chutian, because the jersey of the Yenghua teenager is too good to sell. The club's top brass keep putting pressure on La Liga FA. The shirt rules need to be changed. Barca have to register a first-team number for Chutian. Many people think that the maximum jersey number of the La Liga first team is not no more than 25 numbers. Why do many young players have a number of 98 and a number of 100 can still play? Why Chutian's number is 98? This involves a La Liga shirt rule. The time for under 20 players to join. Chutian joined after Barca had already submitted a 25-man roster for a first-team shirt number, so he can't wear numbers up to 25 when he plays in the first team. The marketing director of Barca Club believes that the jersey number regulation in La Liga has a great impact on the sales of Chutian's derivative products. Next, 4:40 a.m., Chutian came to the entrance of the first team's training ground and found that many international student fans had gathered. There were also a lot of girls in the crowd. Chutian. Can you sign my name for me? Can you take a picture with us? Chutian smiled helplessly. Good thing the security in Barcelona was good. Even at the training ground, there are 5 security guards on duty, 24 hours a day. They were tightly guarded around the young man of Yenghua. Chutian thought for a moment. The national derby is coming soon. Can't delay the training. He said softly to the fans, I'm going to train, you all go back. Don't come so early in the future. The fans were too enthusiastic, and that phrase didn't make much of a difference. A security guard shouted helplessly, the club will arrange a meet and greet recently. Don't squeeze it. Only then was Chutian able to enter the training ground. The female fans looked at his back and exclaimed, Chutian is much better than the coach on TV. Super handsome. He speaks so gently. Loved it. Episode 82. Heavenly Football Special. Chutian's God-level goal. The days go by. Another wonderful game day. The 4th round of La Liga has arrived. Barca host Real Betis. Amid the cheers at Camp Nou, the race has begun. Enrique is trying to cope with the Champions League group stage next week. There was a massive rotation in the starting lineup. Chutian is still the starting main midfielder. Goalkeeper Bravo. The forward line consists of Munir, Rafinha, Sandro. The midfielder is partnered with Chutian by Roberto, Dennis Jr. The average age of this Barca team is 23 years old. Can the young Barca bench beat the menacing Real Betis? Let's wait and see. The referee blew the whistle for the start of the game. Even the young players in Barca's substitute lineup are equally delicate in their foot techniques, especially Dennis Jr., who is no longer brainless. Instead, he actively ran back and forth and took the initiative to hand over the ball to Chutian to handle. 10 minutes past the game. Chutian, after running into his teammates, I began to take control of the rhythm of the game. It's amazing that Barca can play such a pleasing pass after a massive rotation. 18th minute of the match. Chutian's foot went straight through the Royal Betis defense. Munir received the ball and scored with one kick. Barca lead 1 o'clock. 30th minute of the match. Dennis Jr. went through 2 consecutive people, reached the heart of the opposing half, and passed the ball to Chutian under the blockage of multiple Real Betis players. Picked the ball up into the penalty area. Rafinha's header broke the goal. Barca 2 o'clock. 60th minute of the second half. Chutian was 38 meters away from the goal and received a pass from Roberto. No one is watching. One kick blast broke through the goal of Real Betis. 3-0. After the goal, coach Enrique was a little worried about Chutian's mistakes, and quickly signaled Wensu to change. A moment later, in the time of the dead ball, Chutian was replaced. The game continues. The rhythm of Barca's midfield began to be chaotic. There are Chutian and no Chutian Barcelona. There are two teams. The morale of the Royal Betis was shocked. Not only did their possession rate skyrocket, it also made Barca's penalty area thrilling for a while. Dennis Jr. and Roberto were unable to form a control of the midfield. The young backline fits out. The Real Betis players pressed the shots like crazy. Fortunately, Bravo Gau resisted and dedicated many times. His heroic performance did not change the score. At the 93rd minute, the last minute of injury time, Dennis Jr. crossed the ball 3 times in a row, burst into the box, and fell. Barca won a penalty. Bravo walked toward 12 yards. Barca goalkeeper versus Real Betis goalkeeper? Camp Nou fans can't even believe their eyes. The narrator was also a little confused. Chutian in the rest area couldn't help but laugh. Memories of past lives. Bravo is not only a super goalkeeper who is good at saving penalties, but also has a kick on goal. His free kicks have broken through the goals of several European teams. Not to mention it's a penalty. This old brother, if not waves, can become a legend. In 2016, Bravo was bought by Guardiola and was named one of the top 10 disappointing stars in the daily sports newspaper. The referee blew the whistle. Bravo began to run. The posture is quirky. Slow movements, shoot with one kick. Real Betis goalkeeper was confused and pounced on the right side of the goal. The ball slammed straight into the middle of the net. 4-0. The referee blew the end of the game. Barca won a 5-0 victory. Celebrate at the same time. Barca club and Camp Nou fans are aware that Chutian's importance to Barca is not only reflected in the attack. After the match, reports about the match came out quickly. On the importance of the young man of Yengua to Barca, Barca sole locks in the win. Bravo dedicated funny shots. Who scored score released? Chutian and Bravo scored 9.8 points. The other side, Real Madrid are facing a tenacious Athletic Bilbao, and the situation is very scorching. In the end, he relied on Ronaldo's stoppage time header to win 2-1. La Liga standings. Barca tied Real Madrid with goal difference. The two teams are tied for first place in La Liga. Everyone is looking forward to it. Next month's national derby. Barca vs Real Madrid. After the game, Chutian returned to the first team's dormitory. Today's game was too easy. The movements of the Real Betis players are also very text. He didn't even sweat much. The midweek Champions League group stage and next week's national derby are the points. He turned on the TV. The sports channel happens to be broadcasting the Champions League groupings. Group E, Barca, Bayer Leverkusen, Roma, Borisov. This midweek, Champions League Group E, Roma vs Barca. Chutian tried to remember. Rome, Serie A veteran giants. This team has countless stars. Cafu, Totti, De Rossi, Batistuta, son of the wind, Canigia. In the memory of a previous life, 2 years later, Roma was one of the founders of the Barcelona Champions League reversal massacre. Their defensive line is very solid, jokingly called by fans, Luo Xiaoping, Luo Xiaosheng. Last season, they relied on 1-0 and 0-0 from game to game. Got a good result of second place in Serie A. It's a tough opponent. It's hard for Barca to score 3 points at Roma and gain a group advantage. Meanwhile, the office buildings of the major clubs in Europe's 5 major leagues are brightly lit. Bayern Munich. Guardiola looked at the grouping of Barca and was a little worried. Group E, Barca are not good at breaking through. Roma in Serie A, Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga, are all difficult opponents to gnaw. The assistant coach looked around and panicked. Coach, we Bayern are now in Group F. What do you care about in Group E? Guardiola shook his head. Group F, is there an opponent worth studying? Arsenal? Olympiacos? Dinamo Zagreb? The assistant coach was surprised. Arsenal are also passing teams. Guardiola laughed. Of course Arsenal are very good, they are a great team, but La Masia's passing philosophy and Wenger's passing philosophy are not the same thing. Stamford Bridge, Chelsea FC. Mourinho said to several assistant coaches next to him with a calm face. Roma's match against Barca. I must hand me the data report as soon as possible after the game. The teaching assistant wondered. Coach, we should look at Porto now. Mourinho said, I am not interested in the opponents in Group G. The Chelsea manager, also from La Masia. Peak dream 3-team period. The only person who can beat Barca is him. La Masia building. Enrique held a large stack of data reports and watched Roma's recent Serie A matches. The team in Serie A, apart from Juventus, the most difficult to deal with is Roma. This team's backline is even tougher than Juventus. Wensu handed over a cup of coffee. Coach, it's time for us to discuss Rakitic. Enrique looked up. Wensuer, what do you think? Wensu hesitated for a moment and said, this season we are facing a third-tier battle. The bench depth is not enough. Rakitic should probably stay. Enrique, Alrosi. Rakitic is his beloved general. After Xavi left the team, before Chutian appeared, Enrique wants to make Rakitic the new core of Barca's midfield, and carry out Barca's tactical reform around him. Rakitić's level is actually quite good, it's just that it has not been integrated into Barca's pass control system, both from an objective point of view, or subjective feelings. Enrique didn't want him to go. Coach, I suggest you take the time to talk to him, you haven't spoken for a long time since the last time he went out. Inter and Manchester United have both come up with high transfer prices and are willing to pay liquidated damages for him, and Rakitic himself is now determined to leave. Monday night, Yenhua CTV5 Sports Channel. The World Football column was broadcast on time. Hello friends from the audience, welcome to watch this issue of World Football. I am Duan Xian, the Lord. Let's start by admiring the top 10 goals as of the 4th round of La Liga. The screen plays La Liga goals one by one in a countdown digital change. 10th place, Athletic Bilbao, a Duras violent header. In the 4th round of the just concluded La Liga, Real Madrid 2-1 Bilbao. Bilbao's fullback crossed from the bottom. A Duras squeezed away Ramos, violent header. Broke through the gates of Real Madrid. 5th place, Atletico Madrid, Golden Boy Torres elevator free kick. 4th place, Real Madrid, Cristiano Ronaldo volleyed. 3rd place, Barca, Suarez upside down golden hook. 2nd place, Barca, Chutian Batistuta heavy artillery long range fire. 1st place, Barca, Chutian Carlos style free kick. Speed up to 149 km per second. Paired with an exciting BGM, Chutiansuk ran away and exploded the screen disturbance. In an instant, the barrage exploded. Barca won the top 3. The first 3 goals are all related to Chutian. Suarez's upside-down golden hook was assisted by Chutian's pick pass. Chutian is awesome. Yenhua player. Won the top 2 of La Liga's top 10 goals. What an unprecedented, Carlos-style free kick. Explode. It's too hanging. This ball will kick me to tears. Chutian's violent long-range shooting. The ornamentality is too high, and you will not get tired of watching it dozens of times. Episode 83. The Battle of Rome begins. The Champions League makes a stunning debut. The Champions League group stage is about to begin. La Liga and Serie A's media Serie A have launched an off-site war. The front page of Marca newspaper was interesting. A little boy in a red and blue jersey, holding a football, chasing a red wolf. The meaning speaks for itself. The Roma team's nickname is the Red Wolves. This cartoon made the Serie A players very angry. Milano Sport quickly made a counterattack. The newspaper is the largest football medium in Serie A. They have been established for 100 years and have a long history. Influence is all over Europe. For the first time, the faces of Yenhua people appeared on their front page. A photo of Chutian bowing his head and tying his shoelaces. Totti angrily pointed to the photos of his teammates. It was synthesized together. The feeling is, Totti angrily pointed at Chutian. Chutian bowed his head and bent down. Title, Barca's new soul bows at the feet of the Wolf King. Sport Roma followed suit, with the headline, Barca can't break through the door of Italian defense. The picture of the headline on the front page, a child in a red and blue jersey is trembling, and a huge red wolf opens its blood-basin mouth. The Serie A media has also angered La Liga fans. In the face of European battles, there is no home team. The war soon spread to European network platforms. La Liga fans and Serie A fans start spraying each other. The two sides did not speak the same language, and they had to translate each other's words every time. Barca yellow-skinned pigs won all La Liga teams? What's so great about it? Enrique, the Bulldog, was a waste when he was coaching Rome. Strips of Avenue Barrow Rome. Roma City fans are really rubbish. How many times have you let the Olympic Stadium be punished by FIFA for racial discrimination? Do the inhabitants of the city of Rome have a secret sense of superiority? Wednesday. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the 10 hours of training. Reward attribute points ×1. Current host free attribute points, 9. Chutian was sweating profusely and walked to the rest area of the training ground. 9 attribute points, which can only increase the ball control ability value by 3 points. He hesitated, or add all the attribute points to the possession. Offense 71, possession 87, passes 93, shot 72, headers 64, set pieces 68, arc ball 68, speed 77, foot strength 75, jump 63, body contact 76, stamina 80, defense 60, steals 66, goal 20. He looked at the properties panel and took a sip of the game status buff status 100% drink. In an instant, small green upward arrows light up behind all attribute values. Chutian was a little distressed. 2/3 of the drink in the bottle remains. You have to save yourself from drinking. Hey, Chutian, take a shower and change clothes. We should go to Rome. The Barca players boarded a plane to Rome. 2 hours later, arrived at Fiumicino Airport. Chutian followed his teammates out of the pickup gate. Outside the cordon, it's not just media reporters and Barca fans. And a bunch of Roma fans. Chutian wondered, Roma fans have also come to greet us? He couldn't understand Italian with such a warm look. Roma fans are even more excited than Barca fans and journalists. Messi shook his head. Our coach, Enrique, is their enemy. Is Enrique the enemy of Roma fans? Iniesta carefully looked around and whispered. In 2011, an American rich second generation bought Roma, hired a coach to coach the first team, let him transform Roma, and injected the gene of passing control into this club. Roma didn't turn out to be a good passer. They had a lot of tragedies that year, finished 7th at the end of the season and didn't qualify for the tournament. Roma fans hated him and brought a Serie A giant into a Serie A breast. Last season, Roma eased up and finished 2nd in Serie A. Chutian suddenly realized, no wonder. Messi smiled shyly. This matter cannot be mentioned to Ensue. The city of Rome is his sad place. Busquets laughed. Hey, the first time the coach coached that year, the rich second generation of the United States asked him to let Roma play beautiful football. Amid the angry roars of Roma fans, Barca and his party got on the bus to the hotel. From Fiumicino Airport to the Olympic Stadium, Chutian looked out the window at the view and the building. It's like being in a historical museum. Mascherano, who was next to him, suddenly said, "Isn't it beautiful? By the time the game is over, you'll hate the city." Chutian asked doubtfully, why? Little brother Ma patted him on the shoulder and said slowly, because the fans of the city of Rome, the racial discrimination is very serious. They discriminate against all people of color, and everyone has a secret sense of superiority. Another point, Roma is the team that is the least like a Serie A team. Their defensive formation, sometimes it's 4-3-3. Chutian nodded. Mascherano's reminder made him mentally prepared on the pitch. The Olympic Stadium is surrounded by Yenwa people, dressed in Barca shirts. They took photos outside the pitch. A large proportion are tourists and international students. When it was learned that Chutian appeared in Barca's starting list as usual, they flocked to them. The CTV5 camera crew also came to the Olympic Stadium. Not long ago, Fast View won the broadcast rights of the Champions League. Barca's Champions League fixtures will be broadcast live. Xavi held the microphone and interacted with the Yenwa fans cordially. All Yenwa fans are looking forward to the fact that Chutian will bring them more surprises in the Champions League. Pre-match press conference. Roma coach Rudy Garcia sat on the podium. Expressionless, he calmly answered reporters' questions. Mr. Garcia, Barca's current manager, Enrique, also has deep ties to Roma. What do you think of him? The corners of Garcia's mouth twitched, revealing a smile that was uglier than crying. Evaluation? I don't want to judge anyone else. And that year, when I led Lille to the Ligue 1 double, Enrique destroyed Roma. I took over the rebuilding of Rome and led Roma to a record in team history. The reporter continued to ask, Mr. Garcia, do you think the team can beat Barca? Garcia put away his smile. You're talking nonsense. Roma have the strength to get points at home. I can beat Enrique. He will only rely on Messi and a young man in the hot country to win. Another reporter stood up. Mr. Garcia, Barca's Chutian has been doing a great job lately, having assists and goals in 4 consecutive games. Have you found a way to limit him? Garcia shook her head. Will you have a way to limit Xavi? In the body of the young man, I also saw Batistuta, Carlos's shadow, and even I felt that his long pass was like Pirlo, if he had a Gattuso by his side. Against Barca, I'll have reasonable coping tactics, and you'll know it on the pitch. The crowd laughed. On the other side, Enrique's expression was a little ugly. He couldn't understand Garcia's French, but I'm sure the Roma boss isn't saying anything nice. Inside the player channel, a Roma player with a bearded beard smiled slightly at Chutian. Chutian, I've seen your game highlights. It's wonderful. The Roma player spoke fluent English and Chutian nodded in shock. Hello, how does this person grow a beard? Young, full of mouth and beard. Immediately, Chutian recognized the young player of Rome, Sulla. Lionel Messi. After joining Liverpool in 2017, he began to shock the world, breaking multiple Premier League goal records, helped Liverpool return to the top of Europe. 2017 Champions League runner-up, 2018 Champions League. Chutian looked around. Familiar faces. Dzeko, Nangrain, Pjanic, De Rossi, Szczesny. Boy, the 2015 Roma squad turned out to be so strong. In his previous life, Chutian didn't know much about Serie A, players who can only learn about Serie A through the Champions League. There are several players in the Roma player squad in front of me, and later, they all transferred to the top European giants and played for a lot. The radio around the stadium was quiet. The Champions League theme song was played. The referee team led the players from both sides out of the players' tunnel. The entire Olympic Stadium let out a deafening shout. There are not many Barca fans who come to watch the game. There are also thousands of fans in Yenwa. The red-blue ocean occupies a quarter of the seats on the pitch. Fans on both sides shouted slogans in different languages. Chutian could faintly hear the cheers shouted by the Yenwa fans with Chinese. Chutian, come on. Xavi stood on the sidelines, introducing the situation of the game. CTV5. Good evening to the audience and friends. Welcome to this Champions League group stage Group E showdown. Roma vs Barca. There are also a lot of Argentina fans on the scene. Barca are still in a 4-3-3 formation, and after a massive rotation in the last round of La Liga, they sent an all-team squad in this European game. Chutian has once again entered the starting list. Roma beat a number of top giants in last month's warm-up match, and Italy's defensive system has developed to the present, and has made a lot of changes based on the chain defense in the past. Today's game is bound to be exciting. Tonight, what kind of record will Chutian create in the Champions League as a Yenwa player? Let's wait and see. Episode 84, Wolf King Toddy warms up? Horrible Chutian. Hear the word chain defense. Some netizens began to correct. The word for chain defense is catenaccio, which was an early translation error in Yenwa. The concept is complex. It doesn't matter. After watching the ball for so many years, I probably know what type of tactics it is. Wasn't this tactic obsolete in the 90s? The starting lineups of players from both sides lit up on the screen. We can see Roma in a 4-4-2 double-back formation. Goalkeeper, Szczesny. Defenders, Florenzi, Manolas, Rudiger, Digny. Midfielders, Janik, Keita, De Rossi, Nainggolan. Forwards, Sulla, Shako. The referee blew the whistle. The race is on. Barca took the lead in kicking off. Roma did not have the momentum to grab the ball up front. They are like one. The whole formation. Run with the Barca players running. Chutian received a return call from Suarez. A kick was then passed to Busquets. From God's point of view, Roma's overall formation surprised him a little. The Roma players stood and ran like two lines across the half. It's different from Atletico's top-down defensive layering. Roma's defensive level is two lines. Busquets took the ball. The first line in Rome began to spread. The second line begins to tighten. Chutian was slightly surprised. Busquets passed the ball to Iniesta. The right end of Rome's first line, Keita and Dzeko, start converging forward. The line has become oblique. Chutian concentrated his attention for a moment. Received a pass from Iniesta. Nainggolan immediately rushed up. This good boy who smokes and drinks tattoos. The timing of the steal is very good. Chutian did not dare to be careless and passed the ball to Iniesta. The second line in Rome began to move. Florenzi pressed up. Less support ball inside to stop the ball. Habitual foot protection ball. Lean forward with the center of gravity of the body. Florenzi secretly said, he's going to start dribbling breakout. The Roma fullback quickly adjusted position, but I saw the inside and outside of the instep of the foot to sweep the ball. The center of gravity of the body immediately moves in the opposite direction. Florenzi was unstable by the shaky center of gravity. Be less inside. Wonderful. Iniesta rarely uses this simple way of passing. Manolas immediately put the guard, didn't step up, but it accurately stuck the internal cut line. This process. From Chutian's God perspective, the Roma players still maintain the two lines with little room for incision. Frontcourt teammates were also shrouded in the range of the second line. He took the ball a few steps. The reply was sent to Chutian, who had come over. The Olympic Stadium at night was a bit cold. Chutian felt the body temperature coming from his back. It's Nainggolan. He clung to the Yenwa teenager. Tried to intercept the ball that comes from within the less passed. Pjanic also rushed up. Fortunately, the possession attribute of 87 points makes Chutian extremely flexible at his feet. He was the first to stop the football, face the pinch between the two. He leaned on Nainggolan with his body, easily protected the ball, reacted very quickly, and took the ball out before Janik could kick out. The audience was shocked. Chutian's ball control skills seem to have improved again, because Nainggolan is catching up again. Be careful. Chutian cut the ball on the outside of his foot and turned, dodged Nainggolan's shovel. Barca fans and Yenwa fans applauded in the stands. Handsome and handsome. When did Chutian's ball control skills become so terrifying? You know. Nainggolan's back and forth shovel. It is his signature move, which has a high success rate in Serie A. Chutian's turn to get rid of it is really a bit out of his mind. Nainggolan was a little angry. Chutian passed the ball to Iniesta. The latter did not find a good forward line. Rome's two fronts are like two solid chains. Barca blocked most of their passing lines from halftime. Roma backup De Rossi stared at Iniesta. Another back, Nainggolan, clings to Chutian. What are these two people? A World Cup champion main back. A steal success rate of Serie A first back. Fortunately, Chutian and Iniesta had a high enough level of possession and passing. It was not robbed. Seems to have been instructed by Roma boss Garcia. Neither Nainggolan nor De Rossi let go of the shovel easily, or made a big move. They carried out their respective tasks step by step, keeping a close eye on Chutian and Iniesta. Rome's two chains defense also moved with the movement of the two men. Iniesta also saw something. He suddenly stepped forward. Iniesta saw his place. Before the ball is out, Rome's second line immediately moved forward. The ball was passed to Iniesta's feet. Beep. The referee blew the whistle. The cutter raised the flag high. Offside. Iniesta shrugged helplessly. Chutian felt more and more interesting. Very scientific defense line. Depth anti-offside. double wire pull width. Roma boss. Something, from our point of view, Roma's defensive front is really unified. Anti-offside made beautiful, and the La Liga team are two different defensive systems. Their double backs, Neymar, De Rossi, are running all over the field with Chutian and Iniesta. The game came in 10 minutes. Barca's possession is far ahead, but there was not a single chance to hit the door. Courtside, the Roma fans in the stands began cheering. Principe, Principe, Principe. Totti, wearing Roma's number 10 shirt, took off his coat. Start warming up. Barca bench. Roberto frowned and asked, "What does Principe mean?" Dennis Jr. said, "Prince." Totti is the prince in the minds of Roma fans. Roberto skimmed his lips. "Isn't Prince's pronunciation Prince? Little Dennis rolled his eyes. "People speak Italian." The two looked at Totti's back, and their ears were filled with the shouts of the Roma fans. He said in unison, "I envy him." Roma boss Garcia patted Totti on the shoulder. Totti wondered, "Coach, the game has only started for 10 minutes. Are you going to warm me up?" Garcia did not answer. Totti asked no more. Club in Rome. Only Totti dared to question the manager's tactical arrangements. Because he's Totti, the Wolf King, put on a Roman robe from the age of 16. Totti has been playing for this team for 22 years. 22 years of career, accompanied by the ups and downs of Rome. He rejected offers from Real Madrid, Manchester United, Liverpool, and many other giants. Never abandoned Rome. Second in Serie A in history. The first shooter in the history of Rome. His name was already tied to Rome. He is the Prince of Rome, in the hearts of the fans. One city for one person. Time passes minute by minute. Barca could not find the right opportunity. Messi began to try to break through on the right, dribbling on the right. Chutian observed that the two Roman fronts immediately crossed on the right. Digny let go of the shovel. Keita got her foot on her feet. Rudiger card bit. Dzeko also returned to the big penalty area to assist in the defense. Messi began to speed up and flash around. Chutian's got perspective. The two lines of Rome are not messed up. Messi has had 3 in a row. In the end, De Rossi lost the ball under the sweep of the defense. Roma strikes back. Football comes to the feet of Pjanic. The talented midfielder, who later joined Juve and moved to Barcelona, has great passing skills. He kicked an outer instep arc ball. Football crosses the half straight. It's like a rainbow. Got past peak. Sulla has started up at high speed. Stopped the ball. Chutian's secret path is not good. Sulla's speed in the future soccer game is as high as 99. Just 4 seconds passed. Sulla has already run 30 meters. Football bolt. Peak and Massislano rush back. I couldn't catch up with half a life. Roman boy. Too fast. The audience erupted in amazement. Barca goalkeeper, Ter Stegen, is ready defensively. It was like a gust of wind. Sulla is too fast. Barca defenders can't catch up. Single knife opportunity. Sulla faces the goalkeeper directly. Sulla dribbled the ball into the box, 15 yards from goal. Shoot with one kick. Football draws the line. The fans sighed. Oops. It's a pity. The ball was not scored. Duan Xian breathed a sigh of relief for Barca. Chutian was also relieved. Fortunately, Sulla has not yet grown into the complete body of the Liverpool period. The game continues. Ter Stegen sent out the goal. Mascherano passed the ball to Busquets. Busquets also had a bit of a headache. How can Rome now be even more disgusting than Mourinho's Inter in the past? He passed the ball to Chutian. Chutian dodged Neymar and passed the ball to Alba, who was plugged in from the flank. Alba tried to pass the ball back. The left end of the two lines in Rome crosses. The football was broken. Keita kicks the diagonal pass. Dzeko started speeding up. Unfortunately, the power of the ball is too great. Fly out of bounds. It's a bit too big. The next game, Roma's midfield. It is impossible to break the transmission of Iniesta and Chutian. Can't give Atletico the kind of high oppression. Barca didn't have much to do with Rome for a while. The ball is still passed at the feet of the red and blue jersey. Flowing clouds. The other Roma players were unhurried and stuck to their respective ranges of action. Syria Luo Xiaoping, nicknamed Ford Luo Xiaoxing. Sure enough, it lived up to its name. Atletico are like a mallet that grabs the ball. Rome is like 2 iron cables, which will bend, but will not break. Chutian was running to pass the ball at the same time. The brain is also thinking fast. Faintly in view, the line of passing was also revealed. They must have flaws, but I haven't found a solution for the time being. Courtside. Enrique frowned. The other side. The corners of Roma coach Garcia's mouth are slightly raised. Can build this set of tactics. It's because 3 of his coaching staff are the original members of Mourinho's coaching staff. Episode 85. Marseille Boomerang, Gabati burst. Super God Chutian. Chutian gradually slowed down the passing rhythm of the midfield. The gentle Neymar was not much of a threat to him. He found, as long as the Barca players hold the ball and press down to 20 to 30 meters in front of the goal, Roma players will start pushing. Neymar and De Rossi will also reveal their fierce nature. It's like a chain bouncing. Slam it. Steals. Counterattack. played a gap in Barca's backfield. This tactical system is perfectly suited to the individual abilities of Roma players. Take Rudiger, for example. Later Champions League champions Chelsea were the main defenders. He's not very defensive, but he was fast. It is one of the few centre-backs who can barely keep up with Messi's shifting rhythm. He could never defend Messi on his own. I can hold out for 2 more seconds and let my teammates rush to help defend. This is very unfavorable to Barca's attack. Chutian is not in a hurry, recently watching the competition of Europe's top giants every night, or absorbed some knowledge. Rome's current tactics have Mourinho's shadow. The Mourinho who can beat Barca's peak dream team. Real Madrid and Bayern gave the answer to crack this tactic: long passes rush. Barca playing long pass rush hanging? Looking at the big men of Rudiger and Manolas, De Rossi, and the others, Chutian felt unrealistic. From God's point of view, look at the 2 chains. He slowly thought of a solution. Roma's defense, under Garcia's tutelage, was successful and deservedly second in Serie A. They and La Liga are 2 different defensive styles. The Italian team has a strong defensive gene in its bones. I'm a Roma fan, but I never watched Roma last season. Boring. Wake up to another 1-0. Barca can't beat Luo Xiaoxing's nickname? Roma's defense is nothing. Juventus, Inter Milan, AC Milan's defense is even stronger. Inter? AC. Defend? I won't say anything more ugly. It's 2015, not the Serie A period of the Little World Cup. So why can't Inter and AC play in the Champions League group stage now? How not they won Serie A first and second? Inter finished 8th last season, AC last season 10th. Conceded more than 50 goals in 38 league rounds. In the Yen country. When it comes to Inter and AC teams, there will always be fans arguing. Many times, the scolding party is a fan of both teams, the depth of love, the responsibility. I said that Juventus' defensive counterattack is no problem. Pogba can look forward to the future. It's 2015, and Juventus hasn't been fighting for many years. Brothers. Didn't watch last season's Champions League? Juventus reached the final and never played a defensive role. After Allegri took office, Juventus loved to play against each other. Rib cross. 2-point copy, slowly. Netizens quarreled again about Juventus tactics. When it comes to defensive counterattacks, we have to look at Chelsea, led by Jose Mourinho last season. All this is because the game is too dull. Barcelona began a siege of Rome, but once you enter, the distance is about 30 meters. The Roma players started a frenzy of steals. Chutian consciously pushed the Barca formation back. Start booting Alba plugged in, off the pitch. Enrique also found the problem, shouting at the pitch, Alves, you go up too. Thereupon, Barca's left and right sides moved forward to midfield at the same time. It's dangerous for Barca to play like this. If Roma gets a chance to fight back, Chutian was a little worried. Chutian had already thought of a way to break the Roman chains. The increase in the number of players on both sides of the Barca midfield forced Florenzi and Digny to go up a distance to Roma. Chutian dispatched the ball back and forth in a wide range of horizontal dispatches. Alba and Alves received the ball on 2 back and forth runs. Rome's second line of defense gradually became U-shaped. Chutian realized the opportunity to break the chains came. The game came to the 20th minute. Alba took Florenzi to the left side of the center circle. A long foot pass found Chutian. Less drawdowns within the response. Chutian passed the ball obliquely. After receiving the ball, the break is directly started. Dashing and handsome, cowtail. Past Pjanic. Florenzi was overwhelmed. Nangran rushed to fill the position. He gave up on Chutian and chased back Neymar. Manolas in the middle of the road also rushed up. Neymar was forced to the left edge of the penalty area. Under siege, he instinctively wanted to tease the opposing player, but instantly remembered the lesson he had learned against Ma Yuan. He pushed obliquely with one foot in the inverted triangle, pushed the ball into the middle of the road. Chutian started running and quickly stepped forward to catch the ball. From God's point of view, there were no golden lines in his vision. In front of Drossi, Rudiger is like a door god. Between the electric light and flint, Chutian gave up the idea of wanting to pass the ball. If you pass the ball out, the Roman defensive line will be back to the bunch again. He made a decision. Break through with the ball yourself. Chutian wants to burst in with the ball? Impossible. The other 2 tall players are stuck in a good position. Courtside, Enrique was helpless. Like Chutian, he found that the opponent's defensive tactics were controlled by Barca's pass. There is a width. There is synergy, deep defense, combined with an anti-offside approach. It's 2 chains, but Alba and Alves pulled the chain into a U-shape. The breakthrough of the inner few pulls the chain to the extreme. Now Chutian is about to cut off the chains of Rome, but there is no way. De Rossi and Rudiger are experienced. The other side, Roma boss Garcia laughed. This tactic we practiced against Arsenal in the warm-up game, what about seeing through it? Useless. Dig the grooves. Chutian, be careful, this is all rushed. De Rossi is going to shovel. This ball will definitely be lost. How could it have rushed past Rossi and Rudiger? Why are you typing so fast? Everyone is holding their breath. Chutian rushed up with the ball. De Rossi let go of the shovel. Rudiger stretched his legs. The next moment, everyone's mouths are wide open. Only to see Chutian stomp the ball with his left foot. The ball rolls to the left. The whole person turns 180 degrees. Can dodged De Rossi's flying shovel. The right foot is pulling the ball. Avoided Rudiger's outstretched legs. Got rid of two people in an instant. Elegant posture and gorgeous footwork. Marseille whirlwind. It's a Marseille whirlwind. What a gorgeous footwork. Roman chains. Disconnected. In an instant, the Yenwa boy entered the forbidden zone of Rome. In Chutian's vision, an incomparably brilliant golden line lit up. Swing your legs, volley. Coherent. Football is like a cannon, with a fierce power, breaking through the gates of Rome. This moment, it's like the god of war returning to the city of Rome. 1-0. The audience was shocked. Even Duanshian didn't react. Chutian Marseille swung back and forth with two people. Then directly bombard the door with Batistuta's heavy artillery. Coherent. There is no half-superfluous action. Barca lead. Chutian blasted through the door. It was incredible. What a superb shot. It's almost impossible to describe. In the stands, the red and blue ocean erupted with shouts, shocking the entire Olympic Stadium. Barca fans cheer. Yenwa fans cheered. Silence for Roma fans. They stared blankly at the big screen on the pitch, which played back the goal that had just been scored. Yenwa teenager's elegant movements, gorgeous footwork. The Yenwa teenager leaned over and swung his legs to shoot out a heavy cannon shot. In this moment, reminds them of Zidane, reminds them of Batistuta, the god of war who had submitted to the city of Rome at the end of his career. Is our god of war now on the side of Barca? Courtside, Enrique looked like crazy. Pulling Wensu to the tango dance. Chutian's gorgeous get rid of plus Batistuta in one go is too shocking. Roberto and Dennis Jr. also rushed to the sidelines, influenced by the manager and teaching assistants. The two of them hummed and began to accompany each other. The other side, Garcia was still expressionless. The corners of the mouth twitched slightly. Inside, he endured the surprise brought by the young man of Yenwa, but he couldn't show it. As a qualified French-speaking coach, he tried to restrain himself and could not bring negative energy to the players. Never mind. In the first game of the group stage, it doesn't matter if you lose a goal. Just don't concede too many goals. It's still easy to show up in groups. Besides, there's a lot of playing time. My tactics were successful. The performance of the Yenwa teenagers was just unexpected. He lowered his voice and talked to himself, constantly comforting myself. Toddy, who was warming up outside the corner flag area, looked at Chutian's back, thoughtfully. Chutian was already surrounded by his teammates. After a crazy celebration, teammates began to shatter their thoughts. Busquets felt a palpitation, patted his chest, and said, Chutian scared me to death. De Rossi had shoveled the leg of the one who was in Porto. Messi patted Chutian's shoulder and smiled. Your ability to read the game is really strong. Many people feel that the game between the strong teams in Europe relies on individual ability to solve problems and determine victory or defeat. This view is sometimes true, but most of the time it doesn't apply. Football is a game, it is a competition. It's not just a counter-competition between individuals. It's more of a contest between tactical systems. It's about reading the game, to find ways to crack the opponent's tactics. Finally, through personal ability, to solve the problem. Messi, who has broken countless buses, deeply understands this truth. When everyone was marveling at Chutian's wonderful goal, Messi saw his ball quotient before Chutian scored. The referee interrupted the small talk of the Barca stars, urging them to get back to the middle circle. Episode 86. The real Barca brain. Chutian Chow God pass. Chutian broke the deadlock. It also broke the dullness of the game. Chutian's goal has created a history of Yenwa players breaking in the Champions League. He surprised us so much. He is the pride of our Yenwa players. Marseille boomerang plus heavy cannon burst. Was Chutian possessed by both Zidane and Batistuta? Chutian. 666. Is it hard to maneuver around Marseille? National football metropolis. Whoever is the one who plays it is good. Haha, you go and search for the words national football, Marseille whirlwind, don't laugh. The game restarts. The morale of the Roma team was not much affected. The game is still a long time away. Sulla's counterattack point gave them hope. The referee blew the whistle. Zeko kicked off in the middle circle and passed back to Janik. Players from both teams immediately started running. Janik cut the ball to avoid Suarez's harassment, then pushed the ball sideways to Keita. Nainggolan gave up keeping an eye on Chutian. Run before starting. He was able to gain a foothold in Serie A and be sought after by the Giants, not just because of his defensive ability. The offensive capabilities are equally comprehensive. Barca fans have found that Roma are not the kind of rough guy team. Their ground control coordination is also very smooth. The football came to the feet of Florenzi on the flank. He accelerated with the ball and suddenly came to an emergency stop, dangled past Alba. The ball reached Barca's halftime ribs. Pjanic catches the ball. Florenzi and Digny began to charge. The Barca defense line has been tightened. Dzeko is already standing in the forbidden zone. They are learning the way Juve played Barca, rib cross passing. 2-point copy. Why does a defensive team like Roma have such a strong ability to organize ground attacks? 2015, brother, where are the 5 major leagues in Europe that can't attack? It's not about playing games. Roma's full right value is actually not much lower than Barca's, and these stars are not playing defensively. Pjanic is about to get up and pass on his feet. A small red and blue figure appeared from his side. Mascherano fell to the ground and shoveled. Destroyed the ball. Clean tackles. Mascanola's frontal single defense ability is still very strong. The ball slides to the left. Alba rushed forward and received the ball. What a great opportunity to fight back. Neymar and Messi began to accelerate. The Roman half is an open area. With the Roman formation pressing forward, Manolas and Rudiger rushed to their own half. Super fast. Soon shoulder to shoulder with Neymar, Messi. These two big 1.9m center backs, how can they be so fast? These two Roman center backs are the fastest center backs in the world right now. Real Madrid's Varane can only finish third. Are they better than Varane? No, their defensive ability is much worse than Varane's, just speed alone. These two center backs are indeed the fastest. Rudiger is faster than Sulla. Can you believe it? Luo Xiaoxing nickname is not in vain, they are least afraid to fight back. A Serie A team that can make it into the Champions League has no fish belly. Do you have to enter the bullet screen by voice now? Alba kicked straight. This straight plug looks like a long-range shot. Szczesny rushed out of the big penalty area. Neymar was squeezed open by the strong Rudiger and the Roma goalkeeper Bigfoot broke the ball off the sideline. Then he roared at the Roman defenders. Alba awkwardly gestured to his teammates to apologize. Throw out of bounds. This is very normal, even if the professional players of the top giants can't say that there is no mistake. Not everyone can send a precise straight plug every time like Chutian. Roma's attack just now sounded a wake-up call for Barca's players. Chutian deliberately slowed down the pace of the midfield, trying to make Rome's two-chained defenses begin to twist again. The ball continues to pass at Barca's feet. For a while, there was no good chance to attack. Messi retreated. With Chutian, Iniesta began to carry out transitive infiltration in the middle road. But Rome is not Valencia. De Rossi had seen Chutian's Marseille whirling. The Italian World Cup champion's main back is no longer easy to play. Instead, with Neymar, Manolas, and Rudiger, they formed a double chain in the middle. De Rossi's face was resolute. I can defend Zidane. Not to mention a young man in a hot country. The exquisite cooperation of Barca's Chutian has repeatedly threatened the Roma restricted area, but Rome's backline is far superior to Valencia. There was no confusion. Their defensive foursome, extremely focused, in a small local area, taking advantage of the number of people, rich experience, again and again to destroy the ball to break the siege. Finally, the game came to the 30th minute. Under an infiltration attack by Chutian, De Rossi seems to be back in the summer of the 2006 World Cup. He pinched the timing, cut off Iniesta to send Messi a straight plug. It's like cutting off Zidane's exquisite straight plug to Henry. Football comes to the feet of Pjanic, the outside instep arc ball of the Roma genius midfielder. Fly over the Olympic Stadium again. Roma strikes back. Sulla has been launched, like a gust of wind blowing through Barca's half. Mascherano and Peak can't catch up. Too fast, too fast. Sulla is too fast. Sulla, hurry up and make it a little hard to see his feet. Goalkeeper Ter Stegen is waiting. Sulla killed in front of the door. Slow down. Adjust the center of gravity. 1 foot pad shot. The ball slid over the crossbar, flew to the stands. The audience sighed. Barca have escaped another disaster. Egyptian Messi clasped his head in both hands and fell to the ground in frustration. Sulla is good at everything, but the shot is too watery. If only he could have half of Messi's shot. It is already the third in the world. I heard that a Premier League team has bid, and Roma is willing to let him go. Premier League? Wasn't he kicked out of Chelsea by Mourinho's team because of his poor shots? I heard it's Liverpool? Forget it, Liverpool in recent years has been really difficult, and the Reds fans are really bitter. Chutian recalled, in the past life, the original timeline, Barca and Roma played 1-1. Sulla also wasted many single-knife opportunities. Roma qualified as second in the group, facing Real Madrid in the quarter-finals. Because of the injuries of De Rossi, Pjanic, Sulla, Rudiger and Manolas, they were eliminated by Real Madrid 2-0. This Rome is underestimated by the world. The game continues. Chutian controlled the ball in the backfield. The tacit Barca stars understand Chutian's rhythm control, just like Xavi. Have a heart with them. Alba and Alves began to come to the rib position to receive the ball. Busquets ahead. Neymar and Messi began to cross the position. Chutian's thinking was very clear. Since Rome's two chain lines of defense pull the width, then Barca will gather the numerical advantage in the space of the middle road. Football passes back and forth to penetrate. Travel in the middle of Barca's front court. The Roma defender 4 felt pressure. Chutian's rapid mobilization of this local scope. It really allowed them to maintain the unity of the defensive line. Chutian's position at this time was even further behind Busquets. From God's point of view, Rome's 2 lines of defense bent again. This moment, Chutian understood. Why would Cruyff come up with the 4th bit theory? Why is Ball Saint going to build young Guardiola and young Xavi in the direction of number 4? Does the number 4 position only refer to the jersey? Is the number 4 position a single back? Is the number 4 position a fixed position for the starting lineup? What is position 4? Bit 4 is the inheritance. It is the legacy of La Masia. It's Cruyff's philosophy. Let countless scholars in the post-930s have their own opinions and strive for a red-faced philosophy. Face the enemy's strong defenses. Why should I play like a front waist? The Peak Dream 2 team, the Peak Dream 3 team, how to slaughter the defensive team. Barca's forward ball was destroyed by a Roma defender. The football rolled to Chutian's feet, behind the young man of Yenwa. Only Peak and Mascherano. In the field of vision, a colorful passing line is like a rainbow. Chutian leaned back slightly. An ordinary 1-foot-long pass. It's rare to see Chutian catch the ball in this position. This ball is to be passed to Macy's. Footballs rose like fireworks, breaking through the night sky of the city of Rome. Crossed De Rossi, crossed Leidiger. The 2 chains of Rome were broken. It was like a meteor falling sharply, fell into the forbidden zone of Rome. Messi soared into the air, the left foot touched the ball. 1 kick blast. The ball hung into the dead corner of the Roma goal. 2-0. The audience was shocked. They were even more shocked by the beautiful long pass that Chutian's foot spanned half the pitch. Beautiful. Messi volleys. Barca lead again. Chutian's long pass assist in the backcourt. So beautiful. What a vision this is. What kind of game reading ability is this? What kind of ball quotient is this? Incredible. It's so shocking. The Barca stars in the front court are running crazy. Hugged Chutian, who was standing in the back. The children of La Masia understand the significance of this position, this foot-long pass. Oh, this breaks the Roman defense. I haven't seen it in a long time. Chume linkage, super God's pass. De Rossi and Rudiger, there is nothing you can do. There is a Chutian game, it will not be dull. Worth it. I want to save the money of the annual Premier League member and buy Chutian's jersey. Courtside, Enrique couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. He covered his head in excitement. Excitement. Episode 87. Creating the history of the Champions League that belongs to the Yen people. Time passed quickly. Chutian's pass and shot helped Barca with a 2-0 advantage. It's time for intermission. When Chutian walked towards the player passage, Barca fans and Yenwa fans erupted into warm applause. Even many Roma fans can't help but applaud you for the Yenwa. Roma City fans, deeply rooted in the concept of racial discrimination, they look down on all yellow and black races. Their sense of superiority is overwhelming. I think I am the people of this ancient city with a long history and profound heritage. The Olympic Stadium, for the misconduct of these fans, has been punished by FIFA several times in history for taxis. Chutian's wonderful performance in the first half made them shut up. Inside the Barca dressing room, Chutian played back the feeling of position 4 in his mind. But I found that I could not grasp this feeling steadily for the time being. Enrique was enthusiastic and inspired the Barca stars. We had a 2 o'clock advantage in the first half. Roma will definitely make adjustments in the second half. We can't relax. The goal difference in the group stage rankings is also crucial. They don't necessarily stick to defensive counterattack tactics. Roma are not a team that only defends, so we have to solidify the defense. Garcia will definitely make adjustments. Rome dressing room. Garcia's face was expressionless and his tone was flat. I don't want people to be affected by this first half. That's a thing of the past. We have 45 minutes left to change the score. In the second half, we played ground passing play against Barcelona. After the game, let's talk about winning or losing. The Roma players felt the manager's unhurried demeanor, and they were no longer frustrated that they sincerely admired the unsmiling manager. 2 years ago, Garcia took over the stormy, ruined city of Rome. He broke all the cold eyes and doubts of the outside world. Leading the old, sick and disabled players, Juventus were pulled off the horse. No one expected Roma to be able to regain the Champions League. Totti took the captain's armband that De Rossi handed over. He looked at his teammates and didn't say anything grandiose, just a flat smile. We'll pull it back. The Roma players looked up. Pull it back. Fight against Barca. Who says Roma is a team that only defends? Now Rome has an offensive genius that can shine in Europe. And the Wolf King of Rome, Totti. Intermission time ends. Players from both sides return to the pitch. Roma made a substitution before the start of the second half, with Totti replacing Keita. I can't help but worry about him, this former European Golden Boot, the world footballer, who has experienced many serious injuries and broken legs in his career. He is 39 years old this year. Can he still adapt to the intensity of the Champions League? When Totti stepped onto the green field, the whole Olympic Stadium is trembling. Principe, Principe, Principe. The referee blew the whistle that started the second half. Roma tee off. Sulla on the central circle, passed the ball to Janik. Moment. The whole team turned into a ferocious pack of wolves. Crazy front press. From God's perspective, Chutian saw 2 locks of Rome. The chains has disappeared. The 4-4-2 formation changed into 4-3-3. It was different from Barca's 4-3-3 tactics. Roman 4-3-3. Totti is pseudo number 9. Wrong. In Chutian's vision, the Roman formation became 4-6-0 again. No front. The football came to Totti's feet. Iniesta chased back. Totti slammed the ball. People wipe again. It diffused the Barca midfielders' rush. The audience erupted in fierce applause. As a young man, Totti was the most skilled in Europe. Totti then kicked straight in. You don't have to look up either. The football crossed the gap between Mascherano and Alba. Sulla launch, caught the ball on the left, near the bottom line. The Barca defense line was instantly tightened. Busquets, along with Alba, assisted in the defense of Sulla. Florenzi inserted the edges and took away the inner less of the back defense. Space on the left side of the Barca penalty area. Pulled out by Rome. Sulla fake moves. Bump your heels. Janik appeared on the line of the pass. He's outside the big box. Lift your feet. A long arc of the outer instep. Football spins at high speed. Fly to the forbidden zone. Chutian followed Totti closely. In God's perspective, he had already discovered that Totti began to thrust forward at the moment of the straight plug. Totti is distracted by Peak and Chutian, still able to adjust the position. The football fell into the penalty area. He jumped high. With his head, he pointed the ball to Dzeko in the 12-yard position. Dzeko got rid of Alves staring. A kick pumped vigorously. Ter Stegen blocked the shot. Football off the hook. Bounce on the turf. Dzeko leaned on Peak. One kick blast. Broke through Barca's goal. 2-1. Roma fans are screaming wildly. Principe, Principe, Principe. Totti didn't celebrate. Pick up the football and run back to the center circle. On the way, he raised his fist high. The audience erupted in thunderous applause. Totti helped Roma to close the score gap. Totti's appearance has made the Roma players different. He's a Roman prince. He's the Wolf King. He's Totti. This is the end of the Wolf King. Who is this Totti? How so powerful? The technique under his feet is good, he can organize attacks, and his body is strong. The high-altitude ball is capable. The shot is still so hanging. It's a long story. Let's just say that the Galactico wanted to buy him by name, and kept bidding, and he just wouldn't leave. He would stay in Rome. Galactic battleship? Galaxy battleships with Deluo, Zidane, Beckham, Carlos and many other superstars? Totti was the superstar of the year, and people compared him to Zidane. After Zidane retired, people compared him to Kaká. Many people say that Totti is blown out, because they have not seen Totti blow the Real Madrid Galaxy and the Peak Inter game. The game reopens. Chutian also couldn't help but sigh. Totti is a living legend. If he had not rejected Real Madrid and other top giants, the honor on his body would be more. Rome's low investment constrained the development of this legend. Pity, the Wolf King is old. Suarez kicked off. Chutian stabilized Barca's midfield rhythm. Totti excels at offense, not good at defending. The Roman defensive line at this time, in Chutian's vision, it was full of loopholes. Under his control, Barca immediately launched a flowing offensive coordination. Football passes back and forth, quickly. Rapid short pass penetration, tearing at Rome's backline. Tiki, Taka. Roma and Barca are fighting against each other, and they must give up their defense. 60th minute of the match. Chutian received a provocation from Iniesta, turned around and got rid of Neymar. There is no stagnation. The pass line lit up in God's perspective. 1 foot straight. The ball was pressed against the turf and crossed De Rossi's crotch. Came to the forbidden zone. Suarez had an epiphany. Stop the ball on the outside side. The football jumps high. Let the attacking Szczesny pounce. Suarez moved in small steps. At the soccer spot. Shake your head and attack the goal. 3-1. The audience cheered. Beautiful. Nice assists. Nice goal. Barca have once again extended their score advantage. Chutian straight plug assist. Suarez cleverly broke the door. Wonderful. The combination of these two people's attacks always produces chemistry. Unexpected. Chutian has set a record for Yenguaren in the Champions League. Totti picked up the ball from the net. Signal your teammates not to get frustrated and hurry up. Run back into midfield. He experienced more than 20 years of ups and downs in Rome, and for a while he fell behind, which did not frustrate his fighting spirit. The game continues. There was a drizzle in the night sky. The light shines on the raindrops, just like a fly. The broadcast footage was also stained with raindrops. Totti received the ball. Chutian stuck in his position with the ball. Totti smiled slightly. The right foot pulls the ball sideways, trying to pass the moment of the Yengue teenager. His left foot was soft, the whole person fell to the ground. Chutian was a little surprised, took the first 2 steps, and got off the ball. A pass line lights up in the field of vision. He handed out a long diagonal pass. Football crossed the half. Messi found the right side of the road. Messi stepped forward at high speed and caught the ball. Alves inserted the edges and took Digny away. Rudiger desperately defended himself. The future European speed 0.1 center-back couldn't keep up with Messi's first 4 seconds of speeding up with the ball. There is not much suspense. Messi shook off the Roma goalkeeper. One kick to push. Football has burrowed into the net. 4-1. Is this another massacre? It's Chutian's assist again. The Yenwa players created. The rain is getting heavier and heavier. Totti fell to the ground and watched as the ball slammed into the goal. The rain wet his blonde hair and face. He's old. The Wolf King is old. The princes of the city of Rome were old. Just at the moment when he was trying to pass Chutian, he didn't stand on his left foot, fell on his own. Chutian did not participate in the celebration at the first time. He held out his hand to Totti. Totti was a little surprised. Then he smiled slightly. Hold the hand of the Yenwa teenager. Stand up. Countless cameras flicker. This scene was filmed. Meanwhile, the audience erupted in thunderous applause. Both Barca fans, or Roma fans, they all stood up. Applause was given to the Wolf King, but also to the young man of the light country. One man lives a city. Totti was a hero of Rome. When he was young, he refused the world's first annual salary offered by Real Madrid. He rejected wealth and personal honor. No matter how Rome decays, the legendary superstar will not abandon. Episode 88. The insistence of the Wolf King. Chutian assists the 5th son Dinka. Courtside, Roma coach Garcia, with a worried look on his face, worried that Totti would not be able to hold on to the game, prepared to signal the teaching assistant to change. Totti waved his hand at the sidelines. Indicate that you have no problem. Roma have already decided on the offensive tactics. If there is another substitution, the substitute players and the system without sharp formations are not run in, and the collapse will be even worse. The game continues. Totti directs his teammates, dribbled into Barca's hinterland. He organized Roma's front court attack. Teammates also highlight their individual abilities. Sulla's left and right thrusts caused Alba and Peak a lot of headaches. Pjanić's hanging pass is very precise. Totti ran back and forth in the front court. He is the core of the frontless formation. He uses the simplest strategies to help his teammates relieve stress. He uses the simplest headers to do points to help his teammates create chances. All of a sudden, the Barca exclusion zone is buzzing. This Totti is very good. The organizational skills are really strong. The impact is also really strong. Physically strong. Technology is good. What does it mean to have no front? Isn't this Totti a big center? Why did he come to the outside edge of the penalty area to run around and pass the ball? This is a long story. There are many kinds of pseudo-9s. The number 10 jersey that Totti wears, why is he called a pseudo-9? Messi also played the pseudo-9 position? I don't understand what you're talking about. Messi mean number 10 jersey, what pseudo-number 9? The game came to the 80th minute. Totti finally found his chance. Pjanic's long-range shot was saved. Mascherano blocked the ball. The football flew out of the box. It landed right in front of Totti. Totti observed the position of the Barca goalkeeper. Chest stop ball. Swing your legs. Totti's going to shoot. Totti's long-range shooting ability is also one of the best in Europe. Roma fans tensed up, just when Totti was about to explode. Left foot pass 263 to drill the pain of the heart. He closed his eyes in pain and fell on the pitch. There was an uproar. The ball came to Peak's feet. Peak's stall holders did not take advantage of this opportunity to fight back. Instead, gently kicked the ball out of bounds. The referee immediately stepped forward to check on Totti's injuries. Ask him if he wants to call the team doctor. Totti waved his hand. Got back on your feet. Is Totti still going to keep playing? It seems that the old injury has recurred. He has experienced multiple broken legs and serious injuries, and his appearances at Roma in the past 2 years have been very rare. Many Roma fans burst into tears at this moment. They stood up. Applause for Totti. Xiaohua is gone, and youth is gone. The princes of the city of Rome, after all, are still old. For more than 20 years, he fought for Rome and was wounded. The game continues. Florenzi's out-of-bounds ball was thrown to Ter Stegen. It's a kind of court etiquette. Chutian withdrew to receive a pass from the goalkeeper, led Barca on an attack. Rome's defensive line at this time was like paper paste. Under the exquisite series of Yenwa teenagers, 20 seconds later, it hit the forbidden zone in Rome. Chutian split the ball apart. Alves swooped into the penalty area. 1-foot cross. Barca's rare under-the-line cross. Alves was distracted by Rudiger and the line of this ball pass was good. But the height is problematic, not high or low. Teammates are difficult to pick up. Football crosses the penalty area. Come to the left side of the restricted area. Chutian magically appeared. The height of the pass is not easy to stop. Mangran also rushed up. In this moment, a passing line appears. He instinctively turned around. Lift the heel of your right foot. Kicked on this normal soccer ball that is difficult to stop. The ball bounced past the Roma goalkeeper. Suarez appeared at the back point. Before the ball is about to slide out of the bottom line. Push at a small angle. Broke. 5-1. There was an uproar. What an operation this is. Heel assists, beautiful. Suarez scored twice. Wonderful scorpion swing-tail assist. Chutian assisted the Big Four happy. What a magical assist. Can the heel pass such a good ball? Chutian is awesome. Suarez let out a hey laugh and pounced on Chutian. We're going to win the Champions League goal of the round. Look at Suarez's front teeth. Chutian hurriedly avoided it. Barca teammates are celebrating. The game continues. Barca quickly cut off Roma's ball. Chutian was in control of the game again. Footballs fly on the green field. The red and blue jersey is pulsating. Totti watched in confusion as Barca's beautiful transmission was transmitted, but there is no way to compete. He played against Barca's pinnacle Dream 2 team in his youth. Chutian let the current Barca midfield dominance seem to be stronger than the Dream 2 team. The Roma players couldn't take the ball and there was no way for Wolves to organize attacks. Barca's attack is smooth. The city of Rome began to collapse. Roma in the second half after taking the offensive tactics. Just under the control of Barcelona, it will not be able to collapse. Match 85th minute. Iniesta, croquettes, past Neymar. Manolas blocked his forward turning space, and Iniesta quickly knocked the ball back to Chutian. Chutian got up and sent out an exquisite provocation. Rudiger jumped high, can't touch the ball, after the football crossed his head. Plunge into the forbidden zone. Messi rushed to the horse. One kick to shoot. Broke. 6-1. Messi hat-trick. It's Chutian's assist again. Assist 5 Sons Denko. He made the history of the Yenwa players. Just the first Champions League group stage. He's at number 1 on the assists list. Leave the second place far behind. Who would have believed that Barca's showdown with Rome would be such a score? Cosmic Team. The Barca universe is back. Chutian reactivated the Barca Cosmic Team. Stands. Barca fans and Yenwa fans are screaming wildly. Chutian, Chutian, Chutian. Injury time ends. The referee blew the end of the game. The score was frozen at 6-1. It was a score that even the Matador National Toilet Paper newspaper did not dare to predict. Rome, which gave up its defense, collapsed in front of the Barca Cosmic Team led by Chutian. Barca won the first group stage in the Champions League. Chutian also set a record for Yenwa players in the Champions League tonight. 1 shot 5 passes. Assist 5 Sons Denko. Totti tugged at the collar and wiped the rain from his face. He looked at Chutian's back from afar. It seems to see my younger self. Soon, he laughed to himself and dismissed the idea. The young man of the Yen country was stronger than his young self. The reporters looked up the telephoto across the guardrail and filmed the scene. This is the legacy of football. Totti stared at this eye. And Darky watched the development of the ball. Classical number 10, abandoned by the years, staring at the back of the new era midfield. Post-match press conference. Enrique had mixed feelings. He was overjoyed that Chutian helped Barca defeat Rome 6-1. On the other hand, he began to have self-doubts. Am I really the dog crown that the unscrupulous media says? There are Chutian and Messi in the team, and the dog is in the Barca coaching bench, and Barca can win the championship. Moments later, he put away his thoughts, started to face questions from reporters. Mr. Enrique, I'm Lorna, a journalist for Daily Sports, Barca's talented midfielder Chutian, who scored 6 goals in this game, and his assist stats have reached double digits, and he is currently the first in Europe. How did you help him grow from a central B player to a talented midfielder? Help? This reporter is being sarcastic, right? Enrique's brow furrowed. He replied slowly, I didn't do anything at all. Chutian himself is a super genius. Maybe he hasn't been excavated in Yenwa. He is the most important piece of the puzzle for Barcelona to return to the peak of the world. Mr. Enrique, I'm John, a reporter for Marca, and I would like to ask you, with the National Derby coming soon, what do you think of Real Madrid under Zidane? As a Real Madrid veteran, are you looking forward to returning to the Bernabeu? The Marca newspaper is really a toilet paper newspaper. The questions are really tricky. Enrique thought darkly. He shook his head and refused to answer the question. Meantime, he himself was also expecting in what way Chutian would shine at the Bernabeu. On the plane back to Barcelona, little Dennis looked envious. Chutian, I saw you exchange jerseys with Totti. Can you show me? Chutian nodded, of course, but it's not time to wash yet. It's okay, I'll see. He pulled open the cardboard box. He immediately pinched his nose and said disgustedly, Totti's sweat smells so heavy. The crowd laughed. Messi suddenly asked, Chutian, the first assist you gave me during the game was a long pass from the back of the formation, and your position at that time was a bit like Guardiola's position when he was young? Chutian shook his head. It's just a coincidence. You let me try again, I may not be able to do it. He was telling the truth. That kind of 4-bit long pass feeling. Elusive. After the Romans changed sides, they disappeared completely. The system tone suddenly sounds. Ding. Congratulations to the host for winning the Champions League group stage, with ×5 bonus match points. The number of remaining match points in the current host is 11. You can open the lottery wheel once. Episode 89. The National Derby is coming. The Yenghua Chutian outside of Mero. Chutian return to the first team's dormitory. Turn on the system. Open the draw. Ding. Lottery is in progress. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Lucky Charms. Lucky Charm, disposable consumable. Boosts the host to be luckier in a match. Lasts for 2 hours. Lucky Charms? It's props again, but it's better than star fragments. Chutian glanced at the star fragment in the system mall. This has to be kicked to the edge, and it may not be able to put together a superstar skill module. Maybe when the league wins, or the Champions League wins, the system will reward a whole bunch of match points. An ancient coin suddenly appeared in his hand. Chutian knew that this was the lucky charm. Luckily, he didn't believe in this thing. Zidane is dubbed the master of metaphysics by fans. From the beginning of his coaching, Real Madrid has always been able to kill and reverse. For example, in a previous life, in the Champions League final of the 15-16 season, against Ma Jing, Ramos equalized with a header at the last minute. According to the original timeline, Zidane led Real Madrid to win the Champions League Triple Crown. Chutian turned on the TV. The screen replays the Champions League group stage, Real Madrid vs Shakhtar Donetsk. After the first half, Real Madrid lead 1-0. Chutian turned off the TV. During this time, I watched the video of 10 Real Madrid matches. He found that Zidane's Real Madrid, which was managed by Ancelotti, had not changed tactically since last season. No big changes were made. Zidane's ability to change the field is far inferior to Ancelotti. Devoir. The only difference is, his use is bold. Next, the news of Chutian's Champions League group stage is hot all over the network. From Rome, Barca will be back on top of Europe. Yenghua boy, shine in the Champions League. One man makes 6 goals, 1 shot and 5 passes slaughter Rome. Champions League assist 5 Suns Denko. A historic moment for the Yenghua players. Followed, Chutian pulled up Totti's picture. After the game, Totti looked at the photo of Chutian's back. It also quickly spread all over the internet. The boy of the Fire Kingdom pulls up the Wolf King of Rome. Modern football, the legacy of the classical number 10 and the new midfield. Countless short videos up masters, using these 2 photos, with sad BGM, sensational commentary, just a wave of rice. The number of comments and retweets skyrocketed. All of a sudden, it won the first place and the second place in the hot search. Chutian is not so cold, but his character is still good. You see the foreign audience behind the photo. They all stood up and applauded Chutian. Totti looked at Chutian's back. His eyes were full of the shadow of his youth. Chutian has good skills and is patriotic. Character does not have to say, love. Unfortunately, I worked overtime yesterday. Missed the game. Next up in the country derby. War of the century. I must see it. When will the National Derby play Real Madrid? Next week. Today Thursday. Barca finished playing Deportivo on Saturday, and it's the National Derby next week. Followed by, each online platform is warming up for the next week's National Derby. Giants, Real Madrid vs Barca. Can the young men of the Yen dynasty deter the Bernabeu's highly anticipated pinnacle showdown, battle of the century, more than just football? Many up owners are also seriously analyzing the characteristics and strengths of the 2 teams, Chutian, Messi, and C. Luo's photos, which have also been spelled together. Meanwhile, all of Europe is also looking forward to the super war of the Matador Nation. Barca vs Real Madrid. Each season's national derby is as popular as the Champions League finals in the world. The showdown between these 2 super giants represents the best level of competition in Europe. Very ornamental. It's not just the outcome of the game. It also covers many complex factors such as national culture. It is a testimony to the 1,000-year-old feud between the Catalan region and the capital region. Barcelona in the Catalonia region, Real Madrid in the capital region. Since 1902, every duel has been a war. In simple terms, around the 11th century, the Catalans were indisputable, and the Matadors invaded their lands and annexed them. In the 16th century, Europe was in chaos, and the Catalonia region was like a helpless child, who was given to other countries by the Matador states in turn in exchange for benefits. These rulers abolished the language, writing, customs, and festivals of the Catalans. In the hundreds of years that followed, everyone knew what happened. In a word, Barca and Real Madrid are really old enemies. In the European Network Forum, Barca fans and Dry Horse fans also began to spray. Real Madrid fans took the lead in attacking. Wife Pike is a monkey. Alves is a black monkey. Chutian is a yellow-skinned monkey. Messi is a pygmy monkey. Kneel at the Bernabeu. Kneel. On your knees. On your knees. Enrique, your father is a Munich. Barca fans quickly fought back. We paid so much tax, we raised you guys. If you attack our Barca players with monkeys, are you also attacking yourself? You also have a lot of monkeys in your Real Madrid squad, a group of spiritual nobles. Vulgar and ugly. think you're superior. A bunch of Real Madrid dogs. Think that if you become a Real Madrid fan, you are the royal family? You're a bunch of dogs that the royal family has. That black netizen in Nigeria, you are black. Oh, why do you call yourself a Real Madrid fan? Can becoming a Real Madrid fan make you noble? Subsequently, fans of other clubs also began to fight. Atletico fans, in particular, are the most combative. Real Madrid fans, a bunch of monkeys. I at #YenReal Madrid, a bunch of soft eggs. Don't just talk about it, come and play. Atletico fans and Real Madrid fans, these two sworn enemies in the same city. The number of fights is too frequent. The battle between the media and newspapers also began. The war of the pen inside La Liga is more obscure than the war in the Champions League. Neither side will attack each other directly. Instead, it is to try to show the strength of their own team. Marca, as the royal media of Real Madrid clubs, frantically listed Zidane and Cristiano Ronaldo's data. World Sports News directly put out Chutian's data. For games, double-digit assists, pass success rate, number of threatening balls, distance run, number of shots. First in Europe, Marca immediately praised Zidane and Cristiano Ronaldo for their will, leading Real Madrid to kill their opponents many times. World Sports directly took out the match between Sevilla and Majin, which Chutian helped Barca reverse. The Marca newspaper instead praised the grandeur of the Santiago Bernabéu. The Santiago Bernabéu could accommodate 20 more people than the Camp Nou stadium. The fans were happy. Both the Bernabéu and Camp Nou are European five-planetary fields that can accommodate close to 120,000 people. You Marca newspaper know where to blow this? A training ground for the first team. When Suarez found the sweaty Chutian, Gentle said, Chutian, 3 days later, in the fourth round of La Liga, Barca vs Deportivo A Coruña, we decided to let you take a break. Chutian smiled, there is no problem with my state and physical strength, I can play. When Su waved his hand with a serious expression, this is a decision made by our coaching team after careful consideration. We think you need to take a break and next week, it's the national derby against Real Madrid, Barca need you. Chutian nodded, dark passage, then I don't have one less La Liga match point. Ding, the host appears on the bench list. After the team wins, it can also get match points without playing. Can I still mix match points? Chutian immediately said, teaching assistant, can you let me replace him? Winsu was slightly surprised and said, this is a question that our coaching staff needs to discuss. I suggest you take a good rest. A Coruña's strength is very weak and we beat him easily. Chutian smiled, I like to rest on the bench. Winsu also smiled helplessly, well, I will tell the manager what you think. Barca are also actively preparing for the national derby. In the fifth round of La Liga 3 days later, Barca against A Coruña, Chutian and Messi will not play. The two were replaced by Rakitic and Munir. Half an hour later, when Su blew the gathering whistle, Barca have to train in group confrontations. Enrique thought for a moment and said, Chutian, Messi, you two will rest for a while. Several substitutes were then brought on the bench. Rakitic was among them, and he was assigned to the B team. The race started quickly. Rakitic looks in good shape. The Europa League winner is not inferior in his own right. He ran with all his might, and could be seen on both ends of Team B's offense and defense. Soon helped Team B score goals. Enrique turned around and explained to Chutian and Messi, we are about to face a third-tier battle. The bench depth in the team is not enough. In a less critical game, I need to make rotation adjustments for the two of you. Chutian smiled and expressed understanding. The coaching staff's approach to player rotation is reasonable. The Copa del Rey is also coming soon. Barca are on the back burners and many times face 3 games a week. In the past life, after a few years, many netizens will complain that Messi walks and runs less. They didn't know that at that time, Barca, a bunch of old, weak, sick and disabled, relied on Messi alone to support himself. The key game, when to see Messi walk away? Play a dozen games in a month with high density. Iron Man will also kick the waist. You too, take a good rest and adjust, and prepare for the national derby. Episode 90, Stadium Prophet? Chutian's God Operation, Saturday, Camp Nou Stadium, Barcelona vs La Coruña. The seats in the stands were not full, but there were many people. Chutian sat on the bench and watched the one-sided situation on the court. Barca are beating up A Coruña. No goals have been scored for the time being. No one doubts the outcome of the game, and Barca are bound to have a big win in this game without suspense. On the pitch, the players of A Coruña were very clean defensively. Chutian tried to recall. The result of this game seemed to be an 8 o'clock massacre? I can't remember exactly. Last season, Deportivo, they and Eibar scored 35 points to avoid relegation because of their goal difference advantage. Enrique did not direct on the sidelines of the court and sat in the coach's seat on Chutian's left-hand side. He quietly observed the situation on the field, using his pen to constantly move the tactical board in his hand. In the right seat of Chutian is a big brother with a thick look, 32-year-old Matthew, once the golden left foot, best left back in League One, came to Barca last year for a transfer fee of 20 million euros. Chutian, drink water. Matthew handed Chutian a bottle of water and revealed a thick smile. Chutian smiled. Thank you, Matthew said with some excitement. I have a good chance of playing this game. He then scratched his head and whispered, I'm a left back, but we don't have enough replacements at center backs, and the coach always lets me play at center back. Center back? Chutian glanced at Matthew's big man of more than 1.9 meters, and perhaps Enrique transformed him into a center back, also to solve the problem of high-altitude ball handling. He remembered. Later, Matthew and Enrique had a poor relationship. Players and coaches, for more than a year, don't talk that kind. Later, Matthew was seriously injured and announced his retirement. A sudden cheer from the stands interrupted his thoughts. Chutian looked up. 15th minute of the match. Barca have scored goals. Rakitic assisted and Suarez scored, helped Barca open up the situation. The seat shook. Enrique stood up excitedly and raised his fist. Chutian, what do you think of this game? Barca boss asked suddenly. In La Liga, it's normal for the manager to communicate with the players on the bench, unlike the whole technical team in the Premier League, where the whole technical team is talking wildly. Chutian shook his head. He had just lost his mind and wasn't paying attention to the game. Enrique immediately handed out the tactical board and began to discuss with Chutian. He used to really enjoy discussing games with Xavi on the sidelines. The Barca boss began to gush. Chutian suddenly felt like he was in a classroom. On the pitch, A Coruña was powerless to fight back. Their players are very polite to the Barca stars. Although it is backward, the defensive action is very clean. This team once had the nickname Super Laco. They used to be brilliant. At the beginning of the 21st century, Laco won the La Liga title. Consecutive Champions League wins over Real Madrid, Juventus, Bayern, Manchester United, Arsenal. One of the most famous matches is, in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, the earth-shattering reversal eliminated the defending champion AC Milan. They then lost to Porto, who was then in charge of Mourinho, in the semi-finals. A Coruña fell into a financial crisis and slowly became a downstream team, sinking and falling in the relegation zone of La Liga. The first half ended quickly. The Laco goalkeeper pounced high and low to defuse the danger repeatedly. The Barca players returned to the dressing room with a 1-0 score. Rakitic looks in a good mood. He has not contributed assists or goals in a long time. Enrique exclaimed, we have taken the lead, and at this halftime break we have to make personnel adjustments. Roberto replaced Busquets. Rafinha replaces Iniesta, obviously, in preparation for the next round of the National Derby. Enrique rested Iniesta and Busquets. When the crowd walked out of the dressing room, Mathieu was a little excited and whispered, there is only one substitution left. I don't know if I will have a chance to play in the second half. Roberto laughed and said, when we expand the score, you'll definitely be able to play. The second half of the game begins. After Iniesta and Busquets came off the field, Barca's midfield has become somewhat chaotic. If the book says, learn, the game came to the 55th minute. The midfielder suddenly conceded the ball. Rakitic passed the ball to Roberto, cut off directly by the opposing striker, followed by A Coruña, played a continuous quick fit, threatened the Barca hinterland. Fortunately, Mascherano was experienced and ruined the opponent's attack. Rakitic stall holders. He thought Roberto was too far behind. Robertoson loose shoulders. He thinks there is a big problem with Rakitic's passing line. Courtside, Enrique mumbled thoughtfully, mistakes are normal, and there needs to be another run-in between Rakitic and Roberto. If you expand the score, replace Mascherano with Matthew. The game came in 65 minutes. Rakitic received a pass from Rafinha. 1 foot straight through, piercing through Laco's loose defenses. Suarez received the ball and fired a blast. 2-0. Camp Nou fans began cheering. It was another fantastic match day. Barca La Liga, 4 consecutive wins. The stadium's broadcast also shouted excitedly, goal. Rakitic rushed to the edge of the stands, excitedly took off the jersey. Roar. It seems to vent the dissatisfaction accumulated during this time. Rakitic can also score twice in Barcelona assists. I helped Barca win this game. Enrique turned his head and said, Matthew, get ready. Mathieu excitedly took off her coat and ran to the sideline to start warming up. Chutian vaguely seemed to remember something. An instant, he remembered. The final result of Barca's match was 2-2. In their previous life, Barca replaced Mascherano's new Grape Country striker Cardoso in 70 minutes with Matthew Narraco, directly blew Matthew out. Infinite bursts. In the last 10 minutes, Laco scored 2 goals in a row to equalize. Laco took the lead in substitutions. The Grape Nation Jr., Cardoso, came on. Chutian thought for a moment, walked over to Enrique, and said, Coach, I have a suggestion. Enrique smiled, you are welcome to give me advice. Xavi used to like to give me advice. Chutian looked at the field and said, their new player, Cardoso, is a counterfoot right winger, and we should stabilize the defense on the right side. With that, he returned to his seat. Enrique was shocked in his heart. How did Chutian see it? He hurriedly summoned Wensu. That Cardoso is a reverse footballer? Wensu nodded. Enrique was even more shocked. If you replace Mascherano yourself, it will be dangerous. Barca's midfield is chaotic, and it is easy for Laco to organize the attack. Enrique hastily prevented Wensu from applying for a substitution to the 4th referee. He stood on the sidelines of the court and watched the game carefully. The game continues. Rakitic and Roberto did not cooperate well. Mistakes are frequent. Laco made multiple steals in the middle. Their youngster, Cardoso, came on the field and made a crazy surprise on the right. Fortunately, Mascherano's single defense ability is strong enough, and he is least afraid of this kind of reverse foot winger. The more Enrique looked, the more shocked he became. If you replace Mascherano, the consequences are unimaginable. Chutian. I saw the game scene too thoroughly. This Yanguo boy, the reading ability and analysis ability of the game is really strong. The game is over. Barca beat a Coruña 2-0. Matthew walked back to the bench, put back on his coat, and looked aggrieved. After 30 minutes of heating, I didn't have a chance to play. Rakitic ran to the cordon, triumphantly enjoying the praise and compliments of the reporters. In the crowd, a voice suddenly appeared. Rakitic, you did a great job today. Will you be on the starting list for the national derby? Rakitic's face sank. I will obey the head coach's arrangement. Post-match press conference. Enrique sat at the podium. A reporter from Marca stood up and asked, Mr. Enrique. Rakitic scored twice in this game. Can he be in Barca's starting squad again? Enrique said, every game of personnel arrangement, our coaching staff must be carefully considered. The reporter of the Marca newspaper did not hesitate, and asked, Rakitic started in this 5.5 match, replacing Chutian's midfield position, and the performance was equally outstanding. Next week's national derby, will he replace Chutian in the starting lineup? What a toilet paper newspaper. Pull the hate again. Enrique shook his head and said, Rakitic is great and very versatile, but in Barca's current midfield combination, no one can take Chutian's place. Night. The Madrid media began to make a big splash. Champion midfielder Rakitic assists twice. The national derby is coming soon. Real Madrid centre-backs speak. They are more afraid of Rakitic. A large section of the page is accompanied by two photos. Chutian on the bench has a calm expression and applause. Rakitic on the pitch took off his jersey to celebrate, roaring. The newspaper was soon placed in Enrique's office in La Masia. The Barca boss frowned and scolded. Real Madrid raises these toilet newspapers, and they love to play this kind of off-field trick. When Sue smiled and said, it's quite well written, Enrique calmed down a bit and said, no one can take Chutian's place. National derby. Conquest of the Bernabeu. Chutian must start.